shit. Fuck.
Jesus Christ, I'm not fitting in there. Hello guys and welcome, I'm Liam the Music Reviewer. I think this might be like my last, well, that phone call from Anti-Liam really fucking scared me. And it made me realise a lot of important things, like I haven't done a roundup last month. Oops, so yeah, let's do a roundup. Now, Denzel Curry, Taboo. This was an album that I was sort of mixed on when it came to like my first few initial listens, but as I've listened to it more and more over like the past month or so, I'm kind of glad I didn't do a review because it really has grown on me. Just Curry's performance here, really just his delivery, demeanour and lack of decorum, in addition to just how sinister this entire album feels. It leaves me kind of like unsettled but utterly thrilled at the same time. Admittedly, I feel like a few lines could be cut out because when it comes to this album trying to be serious, like on songs like Sirens, a lot of kind of lines kind of undermine it a fair bit. And I do think the first act, up until Sumo, I feel kind of like doesn't get off to the best of starts. I just don't think that it's all that invigorating, and I don't think it's really all that strong an intro, but like acts 2 and 3 are just great, and yeah, thoroughly recommend this if you're looking for like a really solid trap release that isn't dialect. 7 out of 10. Mum Jeans, Puppy Love. I had this one recommended to me by someone on Reddit because I was complaining about the fact that More and Baseball are gone and probably won't ever come back, and they said, hey, listen to Mum Jeans, you might like them. And I have a soft spot for their debut, but this sophomore record, I don't know, I just don't feel like it's got that emo rock charm. The vocals are never grating, but they never feel all that emotionally moving or all that really heartfelt. And I had that whole bias of thinking it was going to sound like a More and Baseball record, or at least have something in common with it, but I really don't think there is. I don't think it's nearly as varied enough as it is to keep my attention all the way through. And yeah, just failed to win me over in general with any sort of charm that it may have had. They were bored me to tears or made me like regret listening to it majorly, but really there's not really much I can say about this album that's overly positive about it. 4 out of 10. Ski Mask, Compro. I'm not the ambient or electronic genius. I'll leave that for people like the Wonky Angle and Sound Binge, but when it came to this album, I was won over. When I get myself into that mindset, I know when there's a good sort of like electronic album, and this is it by a mile. Just how the synths are just so icy and the arrangements are just so chilling. It's like the perfect example of an album that really does match the mood of its artwork. And there's even songs like Rev 8617, which prior to recording this I just found out the Buffalo put it on his playlist that he puts up every month, B-Tech playlist, so I knew I was on that shit way back. But yeah, they're really just sort of melodic and catchy, which you don't really expect from most ambient albums, at least not from my really limited experience. So like there's a lot of songs on here that you could listen to like independently from the record itself, but just as a whole, this is just a really atmospheric, yeah, it's a very atmospheric listen, one I thoroughly recommend, and easily one of the best electronic albums of the year. Don't be surprised to see this on my end of the year list. 8 out of 10. Tony Molina, Kill the Lights. This is the opposite problem I had with Taboo, in the sense that the more I listened to it, the more I just started to dislike it, I guess. Tony Molina makes really compact, tight albums that usually don't go on for more than like 15 minutes. This one specifically focuses on a breakup. And the concept, it's just been done to death, and I don't really feel like he brings anything all that charming to it. I do think that some of the power pop charm, I guess, it's there, and there's a lot of really like nice, catchy, soothing songs. Molina's vocals really do suit them. It's very kind of like Beatlesque in places, but in general, I'm very just kind of like I don't really feel like it didn't manage to recapture the fondness I had for it first time around, and the more I listen to it, the more I'm just starting to get kind of like, I find the whole kind of concept really tedious and done to death just due to the subject matter not bringing the perspective that Tony brings, just doesn't bring anything new to it, so I find it kind of like really tired. 5 out of 10. Part Jiha, Communion. It's hard to really like say much about this album that hasn't already been said, and a lot of the great traits of this record are really hard to word. For me anyway, just to actually like speak them out loud in front of this camera. I just think there's some really unconventional arrangements, instrumentals that just somehow all click together. They're just mesmerising, stunning. They just consistently kept my attention. I was just under the spell that Park Jiha was like weaving as this went on. And yeah, it's just something that I don't come back to as often as I'd like to, but when I get into the mindset for it and I just lie back and put this on, it's just, yeah, there's very few albums this year that can really evoke that same sort of experience. So an easy 8 out of 10. Ariana Grande, Sweetener. Previously I would have had like no inclination to like actually give an Ariana Grande album a go, but No Tears Left to Cry is just such a beautifully composed pop song that every time it comes on it gets me in that sort of mood. So yeah, I thought the singles are good. Let me see what the whole album's like. And yeah, like Pharrell brings some like quite good production here at points, and Ariana Grande just steals the show. Her vocals feel a lot more natural at points, and when she has to like give it her all, when she does that, it's still pretty great. Like I don't really see her as that like Mariah Carey like clone that everyone kept hyping up to be. I really do think she's coming into her own this time around. There's a fair few slogs, and there's like just a few gripes like with how the latest coming basically just has like a copy and pasted Lemonade beat, even though that song itself is actually good. It's just a lot of things that bring it down like that. But yeah, the fact that I can be excited about an Ariana Grande album is something I wouldn't have expected to happen prior to 2018, but I'm not going to complain when some of the pop songs on here are just so delicious. So 6 out of 10 for me. Black Thought, Stream of Thoughts. This is another hip hop release we're talking about in this roundup, but it's more kind of a conventionally classic hip hop record that kind of like prioritises its beats over just production over all else, and it's not like that surprising considering the roots of this artist. I got you there. But yeah, just the overall intelligence and just really sometimes I'd sometimes say glitzy production, but like usually it's quite what you come to expect, like your bread and butter sort of type of beats. But just the intelligence that songs like 215 pack in, just it feels for such a short release that packs in some like really good features as well, like Rhapsody and whatnot. I just found myself like enjoying this a lot more than I expected to, mainly because I've not got really like the history with this artist, or well with Black Thought in terms of his roots career. So I had a great time with this. It's definitely given me the sort of like push that I need to like go further into their catalogue. And yeah, just one of the better EPs of this year. 8 out of 10. Gaika, Basic Volume. I found this album really frustrating. The first time I listened to it, I didn't like it at all. Nothing clicked with me. I found the vocals especially grating. They're just like so layered and overproduced to the point where it is really artificial, and just especially with how some of the songs really touch into some like personal notes. I feel it just kind of undercuts it a bit like that. But I came back to this yesterday when writing up my notes, because I really did think I'll give it another go. And I think the thing that frustrates me most is that I know this would be an album that I would like if the vocals were tweaked, if they just were a bit more raw, because I do feel that would clash a lot better with just how sinister and dreary and bleak this album often feels like. There's a few standout songs where the vocals aren't as grating, and that is when this album is like at its peak. And it's where like if every song was of that same sort of making, like not necessarily like that, but like in terms of like how the vocals and production are interacting, I would be having such more entertaining, and just I would probably have a higher opinion of this album. But just as it stands, I would very much like to see Gaika just kind of take a different route when it comes to how he delivers himself with his next album. 5 out of 10. Superorganism, self-titled debut. I really can't understate how charming an album this is. It oftentimes feels really bonkers. The vocals are usually super like chilled and animated. I could totally see like this sort of music like being featured in some sort of like Cartoon Network show, which is like a high compliment to it. I do feel that bonkers attitude though does get away with them in songs like the Prawn song. I found it sort of like irritating, and I just thought everything just felt like a little bit underdeveloped, if I'm being honest. It like really did dampen my enjoyment at points, which is a shame because like there is songs like Something for Your Mind, Everyone Wants to Be Famous, and that are just super catchy, and I keep coming back to. It's a shame that my listening and like my entertainment in terms of my listening has to come with just like listening to set songs. Not that listening to it in full ever irritates me. It just makes me think, oh, they were so close to like hitting out the gates, like all guns a blazing. Like that would have been. I've been really happy for them, but as it stands, I'm just looking forward to seeing what they do next, and just hoping that they take that sort of feedback on board. Just try and keep things a bit more, maybe not so much orderly, but just try and like get that mind frame so that they don't let their sound get away from themselves. 6 out of 10 on this. Travis Scott, Astroworld. An unpopular opinion of mine that I'm not really timid about sharing. I usually bring it up in the Discord and whatnot all the time. Is that I don't really like Rodeo by Travis Scott, and everyone seems to love it. Yeah. I just often find Travis Scott's delivery super lethargic, uninteresting, and I understand that with that sort of album, like it's meant to be like a psychedelic sort of like journey where that sort of delivery does match the instrumentals and production, but I've never really got it. I've tried to give it so many chances, and it's just not clicking for me, and I just have to like kind of like surrender and go, you know what, I have to be that guy that says that it's not the best trap album ever. It's lit. Jeffrey Young Thug, that one wins it. But with this one, this Astroworld kind of like didn't click with me first time around. So I came back to it again yesterday when I was like, okay, I need to like, I don't want to like just give a half-baked sort of like, oh yeah, I didn't like it, end of. It like, I wouldn't say it clicked with me. My enjoyment like increased tenfold. Like the first 7 or 8 songs, like they just, like I can see why like the whole artwork in that is meant to be like a whole carnival and thing in that, because there's some like unexpected turns in terms of like when you're gonna like expect like a beat change or whatever like that, and some people will complain that like, oh, maybe they're not as refined, that like there's like you can notice like some bits that should have been edited out and whatnot. Yeah. But really, it never really halted my enjoyment of this album. It wasn't until like the second half where I was thinking to myself, yeah, this is starting to go off a little bit, and the only really songs in the second half that I enjoyed were 5% Tint and Yosemite. 5% Tint has these keys that just get me pumped up, and I've kept listening to it because it's like my sort of like, I can see this me chucking this onto my running playlist at some point, because just a lot of songs on this just do get me going. I do think the delivery this time around doesn't irritate me as much because I am enjoying this album a lot more. So maybe somebody will try and say, oh, Rodeo's a lot more subtle, like you just don't get it, and try and play the IQ card and that. But yeah, Astroworld, definitely one that's grown on me a bit more, and I don't know if it will grow on me any more than it already has or that, and I've noticed that I'm already talking about this one over all the other albums a bit too much, so I'll just leave it here and give my rating of a 6 out of 10. Yep, I'm an apologist. It's lit. Interpol, Marauder? What? Most frustrating thing about this album is that sometimes it really does come close to like being a good Interpol album, like on songs like Mountain Child, but just fundamentally it just is pretty flawed. The mixing isn't the best. I really want more to chew on when it comes to like the bass and the drums, and they just fucked it up, and it really does like hinder my enjoyment. And like I get like the skeletons of like the other songs in that, and even then like when I know what they would probably sound like, and it wouldn't really help much. But it's like when you miss out on something so pretty much like basic, I would say, it does make it sort of like a really frustrating listen. So I really don't find myself being different from the general camp here by saying that it's like a 5 out of 10 for me. I don't hate it, but it just frustrates me an awful lot. Hermit and the Recluse, Orpheus versus the Sirens. Ryan from Not Real Facial Hair really summed this up better. I'll link his review up at the top just now. Say you did it better. I've not even talked about it yet, but really I agree very much with his sentiment about how it's a really intelligent album. It's one that you're going to come back to like oftentimes. It's going to be like a book that you had to like do like a lit review on, basically, where like there's a lot to dive into, and I think for a lot of people that's going to be great. Even for me, like I loved like looking up about all these different like references to Greek mythology, how they tie into like our modern day lives. It's super interesting in that sense. But one, it really could be a lot more melodic, because it feels like instead of having like you're like having your dinner over like 3 courses and all that, it feels like somebody's just like chucked it all into one plate, and you're just kind of like, how the hell am I meant to manage all of this? And that's probably the best kind of like simile I can think of. It's pretty much like that. But I do think that Ka like is like on top of the game in terms of like how other rappers really aren't on the same sort of level as him when it comes to being just so smart with what they're saying. I just wish that he was smarter with how he goes about saying it. But I'm pretty comfortable giving this a 7 out of 10. And last one, Iglooghost, Clear Tamei. I reviewed this on Buffalo Staples channel as part of a collab, and I'll link that up there if you want to like listen to my full thoughts. But in general, definitely the stronger of the 2 EPs. It just feels a lot more organic. It just feels like a vastly more improved version of Neo Wax Bloom, which was already like a great album in its own right. But some of these songs just make me feel like really teary-eyed at just how stunning they are. I really do find myself getting lost for words, and just, yeah, I was just in complete awe of some of these songs. The only real song that like I have any sort of issue with was the last song, but even then it's pretty much a car where it's got some really good parts to it, but as a unit, it's not really like it doesn't drive the best. There's some bits to take away from that you're still kind of like, yeah, I like that. Just some songs here that really shouldn't work, like the one with the baby crying and all that. It should be really grating, but it's really not. Title track, which is like some sort of like Twin Peaks-esque like rap song in that. It's just a really cool, interesting album that I feel does sort of like just hint at what Iglooghost is like going for in the future of his career. Easily one of my favourite EPs of the year, along with Black Thought and the Jenny Haval one, which I reviewed. Watch that because like 10 people watched it. But yeah, I'm feeling like an 8 out of 10 on Iglooghost Clear Tamei. And yeah, I think that about does it. Starting here. What's going on? What are you doing back? I thought you were... What's the t-shirt? Oh, yeah, no, they got me as a present. I think, I don't know if it was a present or some sort of like thing to take away masculinity. I don't know. It's comfy though. And where have they went? Yeah, just I spilled Pepsi Max Cherry, like whenever I was in the back of the van, rolled to the front of the car, and then just, I think it just broke the car, so now they took it on to the garage just now. I don't think it's worth it. I really don't. I think they found a copy of it on like CEX for like £5 or something. You really hyped it up far too much. Oh, that's an interesting story, but you've been away for weeks now. People have been worried sick about you. And I've had to record all my own stuff, so you've got like 100, 200 hours to make up for. Fuck's sake. Anyway guys, thank you for watching. Let me know what you made of these albums down in the comments below. Send your well wishes to Anti-Liam if you want to. And yeah, as always, stay safe and stay hydrated.
God bless you all. See you in Astroworld.